All right, it is 1:32. We're going to get started here. Just a reminder, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Um, at the end of the presentation, I can go ahead and answer any of those questions and we can flip back the previous slide. So we should have plenty of time for questions. My slideshow is not that long, but I will get started. My name is Colin Maslick. I am the Microsoft Solutions Manager for Right Systems. Most of my day is spent talking about Microsoft. Anything really related to Microsoft, uh, whether it is licensing usage, buying programs, Microsoft advice, services, SOWs, those types of things. That's what I talk about with future customers and even current customers on a regular basis. So that's a little bit about me. We're going to start with a little bit of CSP review, which is a buying program that we offer through Right Systems, touch on Azure, and really just Microsoft updates in general. As things change, Microsoft's fiscal year is July. So we're in a brand new environment for them as far as opportunities, funding, all that type of stuff. Licensing options with CSP. Most people don't know that with CSP, there's three different options for the same license. You can have three different terms for the same license with three completely different prices. So when we're comparing licenses from one partner to another, from Microsoft Direct, we want to make sure we're talking about the same term because that will adjust the price significantly. RSI typically suggests annual term with annual billing if you can swing it just for the best price possible. When we offer these licenses to any company, we're offering below market pricing. Um, we want to force you to get off of Microsoft Direct, off of a credit card, and into a buying program that is more flexible and easier to make payments on. But there is a use case for some of those licenses to be, say, month to month. If you need the flexibility of removing licenses after partial year, you can do so with the month to month. Just to know that that premium is added onto that from Microsoft. Package update. So not everyone's favorite topic, but Microsoft price increase happened July 1st of this year. If you're on a CSP, you may have not seen the impact yet because your licenses should remain the same until they renew next. So it'll be over the next 12 months that you'll see some sort of price increase from Microsoft in your licenses. Most of these price increases really are package consolidations. So the Office E1, E3, E5, M365, E3, and E5, they've all had things added to them. They've had some listed things here: Intune Remote Help, Defender for Office Plan 1, that is the email filtering security. So you can potentially replace your email filtering solution with a Defender for Office with this package at only about 5 to 10% price increase. They've also added for a business suite, which is a big win, 100 gigabyte mailboxes for Business Basic, Standard, and Premium. Previously, those were, I believe, 50 gigabytes for all of them. Business Basic might have been less, but Standard and Premium had 50. That way, there's typically a few users that do not like to delete emails. So this is a big win for companies having to, after the 50 gigabytes, archive everything, and then you can't pull everything. So it gets to be a little bit of a sticking point for a lot of customers. There is a few other changes that I'm not going to go over here, but if you want to know the full list, please engage with RSI, your account manager. I can get you a full list of every little thing that's changed. A lot of these changes will affect companies in different ways. Um, and there's not a lot of uh, things that really significantly change except for what's listed above. Copilot and Copilot Business. Most people don't know Copilot for Business is available as an add-on to business level licenses. So Business Standard and Business Premium, you can add on Copilot for Business, which is in fact the same license that companies are buying regular Copilot for their E3 and E5 users at a discounted price. The same functional license, and basically there's no reason not to. When we're talking about Copilot and getting you set up with Copilot, we typically like to discuss security rules around your Copilot. If you need to engage with us, we're happy to discuss what we've done internally, what we've done for many other customers, and really the changes that we see with using Copilot versus other AI products, Claude, ChatGPT, and all of those that we know people are using. Microsoft Windows Flex 365. This is something that got brought up as we were discussing with a customer about potential options for movements into cloud. It doesn't always make sense, like in the previous webinar, it doesn't always make sense to move completely into the cloud. We're seeing a lot of hybrid engagements where you have some on-prem and some in the cloud. This is Microsoft's offering for something like an Azure virtual desktop or a user's desktop that is stored in the cloud, but you don't have to manage it the same way you would, say, your Azure resources. You don't need an Azure expert. It basically just works as a SaaS product. You just need the correct licensing for it. So your team doesn't manage servers. You don't manage hypervisors, capacity. The bill does not fluctuate. You essentially have the license, and then you assign it to the users that are using those cloud PCs. There are some requirements for those. Oh, apologize. There's some requirements for those. These are the licenses that you need to have in order to take advantage of this. And really, there's two models. So this is for companies that maybe have a rotating schedule. Say you work 24/7, you have a morning shift, a swing shift, and a night shift. They all not working at the same time. We would recommend the dedicated mode. That way, these users can have, you have one license for essentially 3 people if you had 3 shifts during the day. The shared mode is a little bit different. Lets you basically provision a cloud PC for an individual user that's non-concurrent. So when that person signs off, essentially it wipes everything and the license goes back into the pool in which you can assign it to another user. So this is really a way for companies to assign desktops and not worry so much about everybody getting a device. Maybe they're on shared devices as they log in. Maybe it's a frontline worker who's working at a plant and there's one computer there and it's shared between different people. This is a solution offered by Microsoft that comes with a little bit of configuration, but once you're set up and running, it just works. Microsoft Azure and Archera. So with Azure through RSI, we have a couple different offerings. There's obviously benefits for being in a partner tenant. We can move pay-as-you-go Azure subscriptions to Right Systems partner tenant free of charge. Automatically, it's more of a billing change. Sometimes there's some marketplace things that don't move over correctly, but in general, we can do that free of charge and get you to take advantage of working through RSI. Some of those benefits are, again, below MSRP pricing. We offer below MSRP pricing for all your Azure resources. We also have additional support options and a free offering through Archera, through our distributor, that gets you cost optimization. So once you're in Azure with RSI, you can sign up for Archera. You can leverage their free SaaS platform. it's really just more visibility into cost optimization. If you've ever logged into the Azure cost management, there's a lot of information in there. Nothing is set up. None of the reports are set up. It's not really plug and play. It's really set up how you want it and create the things you do and spend the time doing that. This eliminates that problem. Our chair will tell you where you can optimize as far as spend goes, where you can get reservations, where you shouldn't get reservations, where you can leverage cost savings plans for the existing Azure spend that you have, all free of charge. The other option through Archera, which is a paid engagement through them, is something called insured reservations. So Archera is really taking on the responsibility here. What they're doing is on the back end, they're taking your monthly cost, they're doing 3-year reservations, which makes the cost way less, and then they're charging you a premium on there, but still offering it on a 30-day commitment. So you don't have to commit to the 3-year, but as long as you engage with them and essentially pay their premium, you just get savings on your Azure spend. There's not much more to it. They're taking on the risk, but you're engaging with them as far as what to buy and ensuring that you can get what you need at a lower cost. And lastly, Microsoft Configuration Assessment. So this is the free offering. You're going to get a survey after this webinar. This is what we're offering as far as a $2,500 free paid engagement, and it's really just an assessment on your Microsoft environment. It's basically a food menu item. So you'll get a list of these things. You get to pick, hey, I want you guys to look at my Exchange. I want you to look at Teams, Defender for Office, all this type of stuff. And you can pick which items you want us to look at and which items you don't. And we create a report based on our findings. What we've seen is a lot of people have been running Microsoft for many years and they don't know what's happening. The changes from on-prem Exchange into the cloud, into Entra ID, into Defender have really just made things more complicated when they've claimed it'll be more simple. But with this review, it's really going to give you a game plan of, okay, what switches do I need to flip in order to be compliant? What do I need to rein in as far as accounts go with my identity? What can I set up with my Teams? What can I set up with my OneDrive? How can I leverage the backend SharePoint with my OneDrive, and as well as a licensing optimization, which is part of what I do. So engineers doing all these things except for the last item. And if you want something like the full suite, you want an idea of, okay, I don't know what's happening with my Microsoft at all. We can do this full engagement. Just reach out to your account manager or myself. We can get this going and get your report, and have a game plan about what to do next with Microsoft, whether it's this year, next year, or down the road. And that's it, short and sweet. That's kind of how I like it. If you need anything as far as specific Microsoft help, feel free to reach out. But this will be opening up for questions. Anybody that has anything that you want me to speak on, certainly bring that up.
Yeah, hey Colin, appreciate it. Nice work on this one. I did want to expand a little bit on that last slide with regard to the services offerings. We've done so many different flavors of these over the years. This is something we are extremely good at, and we can really kind of hone in on exactly what your organization needs. And how we like to treat like phase 2 of this is a shared services model, right? We look at it as we're going to identify several areas of remediation through this assessment, right? It might even spurn more assessment, right? The outcome might be we need to assess other things. That happens sometimes as well. But what we normally end up seeing is we'll identify, say, 3, 4, 5 areas for remediation. We'll identify kind of what that remediation plan or path is. And then we'll work with your team to say, all right, which ones do you want to tackle and which ones would you like us to tackle? And that shared services model has proved extremely successful across the board. And so, we're not kind of trying to come in and tell anybody that their environment looks like garbage. Everybody knows they've got some areas they'd like to improve on. That's never our goal. The other thing that we like to do with these assessments is once we have that kind of first draft, we roll it out to customers in draft format. We don't just give you one final document and go, here you go, and then we wash our hands of it. We want it to be something that is valuable and useful to your organization. Sometimes that means adding additional content. Sometimes that means removing content and making sure that we are in alignment with what the goals are from the organization. So it's very much a collaborative effort. I would encourage all of you to take advantage of this. It never hurts to look at the environment, even if you feel like you've done a really good job or you've had one of these in the past couple of years. So much is changing that I think it's very valuable to have the discussion once again. So looking forward to hearing from you as you start to fill out the survey and asking for help on this. And we'll get engaged and you can meet our engineers if you haven't already, and we'll help you get this stuff sorted out. So nice work, Colin. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Do we have any questions, Jesse?
I don't see any questions in the chat, so you must have answered everybody's questions. Just a reminder that if if this offer is something that you would like to opt into, you can certainly request that through your account manager. At the end of this webinar, we will be pushing out a survey. You can easily opt in that way, and someone will contact you. So just let us know.
Yeah, I'll pile on a little more to that too, Jesse, because they're above and beyond these assessment offerings that we're doing. We do have the ability sometimes to leverage Microsoft funding for actual projects, whether it be, moves to Azure or some sort of a migration. They've got buckets of money out there that we can go pull from. And so if you're thinking about doing a project, if there's something you would like to do, but you either don't think you have budget or time for it or whatever, float it by your account manager and they can pull us in, and it's something we can look at and say, yeah, we could probably go get Microsoft funding to help, pay for some or all of the cost of this project. Bob's done a ton of these with his team, as far as just customers modernize their environments. And Microsoft's got money out there that we can pull from. Now, we don't always get it, but it's there. And if we don't ask, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, they say. So go ahead and reach out to us. We'd love to help you explore if there's options that we can do to get other services engagements funded.
Yeah, that's great, Tony. I didn't have a funding slide, but it's certainly out there. The programs have changed as of July. POCs are a big thing. Azure is basically always funded if you're moving anything into Azure or thinking about Azure. And when in fact, we recently had a customer who we did a POC for. We thought they were going to roll out this big Azure environment and do a POC for, full rollout. And we put it up there and they decided, hey, we got a vendor who gave us a better quote on this, and the Azure costs have gone up in these regions for these reasons. So we're going to make the right decision for us as a company, and we're going to move away from the POC and we're going to leverage this other technology with you guys. And so those things happen, and we wouldn't know unless we tried and moved everything up. So engage with us early and often, and help us help you make the right decision for you. All right. No questions. We'll end it early, short and sweet, 21 minutes. Get you guys out of here and moving on to the next. So I appreciate the time. Appreciate everyone joining in, tuning in for however long and paying attention to me talk. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions to your account manager or myself directly.
Excellent. Thanks, everyone.